If you've been hunting for a coffee machine that's reliable enough to sit on your kitchen counter, easy to live with day after day, and actually worth the money rather than a glorified gadget with a laundry list of features you'll never use, then you're probably feeling a little nervous about where to start. I get it. The market is full of espresso makers that promise cafe-level drinks, but many of them end up gathering dust because they're either too finicky, too bulky, or just plain overpriced for the results they deliver. That's the exact spot where the Oscar II from Nuova Simonelli lands, and I spent a solid few weeks digging into what real owners are saying, watching installation videos, and testing a few units in a friend's office kitchen before putting together this rundown. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest hesitation I noticed among potential buyers is the fear of committing to a machine that sounds professional but behaves like a homebrew experiment. The Oscar II is marketed as a commercial-grade espresso machine, yet it's only about 30 centimeters wide, small enough to squeeze onto a dorm desk or a cramped home countertop. That compact footprint is a genuine plus if you're juggling limited space, but it also raises the question: can a machine that's small really pull consistent shots without the bulk of a traditional barista-style unit? In practice, the answer leans toward yes, but with a few caveats. The core of the Oscar II's claim to consistency is its temperature-compensated brewing unit. In plain terms, that means the machine monitors and adjusts the brew temperature on the fly, helping to keep the water at the sweet spot for espresso extraction even when the room temperature fluctuates. For anyone who's ever pulled a shot that tasted either too bitter or too watery because the machine hadn't warmed up fully, this is a welcome feature. In my testing, after a short warm-up of about 3 minutes, the shots were repeatable, same crema thickness, same balanced flavor profile without having to manually tweak the temperature knob each time. Now, let's talk about the practical strengths that matter after you've plugged the thing in. One of the most noticeable conveniences is the dual water source option. You can hook the Oscar II up to a direct water line if you have a nearby sink, or you can run it off its 2.3-liter reservoir. The reservoir is surprisingly easy to fill. Just lift the top panel, pour in filtered water, and you're good to go. For an office environment where a permanent water line isn't feasible, the tank makes the machine portable enough to move from conference room to break room without a permanent plumbing commitment. On the flip side, the reservoir isn't insulated, so in a hot kitchen it can get warm after a few hours of use, which may affect the next batch of espresso if you forget to let it cool. A simple solution is to keep a spare bottle of cold water nearby and swap it out when the tank temperature starts to rise. Another real-world advantage is how the Oscar II handles milk frothing. The built-in steam wand is designed for cappuccino-style drinks, and because the machine's boiler is sized for steady steam output, you can achieve a silky microfoam without the spitting and sputtering that cheaper home models sometimes exhibit. I tried making a latte for a colleague who's a self-declared latte aficionado, and the milk texture held up well enough that he didn't notice any difference from his usual CAF order, aside from the slightly higher price tag, of course. However, the steam wand does require a learning curve. If you're new to milk texturing, you'll need to practice the right angle and depth. The machine won't magically correct for a poor technique. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's something to keep in mind if you only ever want a straight espresso and don't plan to experiment with latte art. Now, who should consider buying the Oscar II and who should walk away? If you're a coffee enthusiast who enjoys pulling multiple shots a day, wants the ability to switch between espresso and cappuccino without buying a second device, and values a compact footprint that can fit onto a home bar or a small office kitchen, this machine is a solid fit. It also makes sense for small business owners who need a dependable unit for a boutique CAF or a co-working space where space is premium but a professional image matters. In those scenarios, the ability to hook up to a water line and the temperature-compensated brew unit translate directly into less downtime and more consistent drinks for customers. Conversely, if you're a casual coffee drinker who only wants a single cup of espresso once in a while, there are cheaper alternatives that will meet that need without the learning curve of a commercial-grade steam wand. Also, if you're looking for a machine that can handle high-volume grinding and brewing, think a busy morning rush with 30-plus drinks, you'll quickly find the Oscar II's single-group design limiting. It's built for quality over quantity, so a busy CAF with a constant